Okay, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to BWTM Sports. Video number 2 for the day. Deontay Wilder makes his comeback, we believe, in October versus Robert Helenius. If you like this video, do smash the like button as you enter the room or you're watching the video, because that helps YouTube share our videos. And of course, you want our videos shared so more people subscribe to the channel. Of course, if you subscribe to the channel already, please do me a favor. Do check to see that you are subscribed and your notification bell is clicked to all and not personalized. If it's personalized, that means you will not get all the videos. And when we go live, you won't be notified. So make sure that you are, it's not personalized, but it's all. Right, let's crack on with this. Good morning, Yasser. Hope that you're well. Okay, let's get into this one. Deontay Wilder, Robert Helenius. Now, if you remember on a previous show, people asked me the question, Ingram, who would you pick as a comeback fight for Deontay Wilder? And I had a short list. And in that short list, Robert Helenius was in my top 3 fighters that would be a comeback for Deontay Wilder. And while I said that this would be a good fight, I said it would be a dangerous fight. And here's what it is. If we're talking about the Deontay Wilder that stopped dominant Brazil, we're talking about that Deontay Wilder versus Robert Helenius. I get it. I could probably see a quick knockout myself, but it's not. It's not even the Deontay Wilder that fought the first fight against Tyson Fury. It's not. It's not the Deontay Wilder that fought the second fight against Tyson Fury. It's not. It's not even the Deontay Wilder that fought the third fight against Tyson Fury. It's the Deontay Wilder that has been beaten, knocked out, in some parts humiliated, and had to hang his face in shame in some areas because of the certain stuff that was coming out from his camp and so on and so forth. I'm not backtracking or front tracking. I'm just putting it out there in terms of the man's mindset and the talk of him wanting to retire from boxing. And he's had a while out from boxing. He's had time for his body to rest and rejuvenate and come back. But Deontay Wilder, the aura of Deontay Wilder, yes, he's got that big punch. But there's huge chinks in the armor now. He's now been knocked out. Like, you can watch videos of him falling flat on the canvas and being counted out almost. That is different to the guy that went out there and knocked Brazil out in a round and looked almost unbeatable with that punching power. Huh? For a fighter psychology, it's very different. When Mike Tyson lost his aura of invincibility, things changed. People decide to look at Mike in his eye now. People decide to look Mike in his eye. It's a different sort of fear, different fear factor. It's different. When a guy loses that aura of invincibility, particularly heavyweight, when you lose the aura of invincibility, when you've been beaten, when you've been knocked out, you now, as a fighter, you now have a different mindset. You can't be the same fighter. Very few fighters. Manny Pacquiao is one of those guys who's been knocked out flat and has got back up and gone on to be a world champion again and has done the business. That's a rarity in boxing. Not everyone can come back like that. Lennox Lewis did it as well. Got knocked out, came back, became champion again, did it. But it's not just getting knocked out. It's the way you get knocked out. It's, Deontay Wilder, even his stamina in that fight against the third fight with Fury was like, he was blowing out his ass for 2 rounds. The other thing about Deontay Wilder, now we know that if you push Wilder onto the back foot, he's not as effective. He cannot fight backing up. He backs straight up. He backs straight and he doesn't know what to do now. And at what, 37, maybe 38 now? In the 3 fights against Tyson Fury, he fought a big man, a man who had a good jab on him, and a man that could walk him back, physically impose himself and walk him back. Now, if you look at Helenius and you look at Wilder. They're around the same height. Helenius has got a great amateur pedigree as well, former European champion, and he can punch. The Nordic Nightmare can punch. Yes, he's had his own defeats as well, but he's the kind of guy that can stick in there. He's an experienced campaigner. He's got a nice, decent jab on him. He's got a good right hand on him, and he can box. He can box. It's not like Helenius the bump, but Helenius can box. He's got good fundamentals. And if Helenius comes up with the right strategy, right, I'm going to push you on to the back. It's not like I haven't sparred you before. I know what you're about, but I know what you were about when you were the braggadocious Deontay Wilder. Wilder as well. There's a lot of ego about Wilder. A lot of ego was about him. He was built on a lot of ego. He believed himself and that self-confidence. But when you refer to that confidence all the time, and then when you go to refer to it now, you refer to it as a guy that's been beaten, battered, and knocked out. It's a different situation. So you have to come up with a different script. You have to come up with a different script. And now if the Helenius comes out and doubles up that jab and backs Wilder up, and if anybody goes back and listens to my previous videos about Deontay Wilder, the way you beat Deontay Wilder, I said it, and Tyson Fury ended up doing it, was doubling up the jab and backing this guy up. Don't give him room to throw that big right hand. Don't give him that room. Drop it, push him back, and fight him onto the back foot, because he's not going to throw counters at you. He's not a counter puncher. So you can back like that. You can back Wilder up like that with a double jab, because his head goes back like this. So when Wilder fights, you've got to push that double jab back in his face. He does that when you jab him. He doesn't block a jab naturally like how people block a jab or parry a jab. He's doing this with his chin. And of course now, as you get a little older, those things, those habits you had when you were younger and got away with it because you were faster and get your way with it. Now, as you get older and now you've been knocked out, those fundamentals that you didn't have back then are now a problem. You see? So I don't see this fight. As long as Helenius comes up with a game plan, I'm going to double the jab. I'm going to back you up. I'm going to fight you like Tyson Fury fought you. I'm not as good as Tyson Fury, right? But I still have a good enough jab. I can back you up. I still have a good right hand. So it's a dangerous fight, all right? If we're basing it on the Deontay Wilder that fought previously. So I'm not so sure about the Deontay Wilder knockout coming. Yes, he should knock him out. I'm not saying he shouldn't knock him out. But this fight that I was in my selection, this is a fight I look at with concern, because I don't know what Deontay Wilder's got left. And more to the point, I don't know what happens when Helenius hits him on the chin. Why is he coming back to box? I mean, he's got enough money in the bank. He's got a beautiful wife. Why is he coming? He wants to become heavyweight champion of the world. The other day, I heard he told me he was going to retire. He wasn't going to come back in boxing. Now he's come back to boxing. He talks about going to do some African ritual or something to come back. I don't know, man. I don't know. He's got a beautiful partner. You know, he's got business outside of boxing, which he talks about a lot. You know, he's got enough money to look after his daughter now. So why are you coming back? Why are you coming back to take yourself through all that pain again? And then even in the fight you had against Fury, you wasn't in the best physical shape. And then the Malik Scott situation. Is he going to stick with Malik Scott? So are we going to see that heavy Deontay Wilder fight again? Lots of questions to be asked. So I'm not convinced about Malik Scott training him. My personal opinion. I'm not convinced about Malik Scott training him. Because in that fight against Tyson Fury, when he hit him with a straight right hand, there's an example. He had Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury's got a blind spot. And if you look at where Wilder was, he was doing this and he hit him with a straight right hand. Bang! Fury didn't see that right hand coming. And Wilder then he stopped using that jab and stopped trying to line up with that right hand in the same way. The two times he caught Fury was that right hand straight down the pipe, a straight right hand. And he stopped using it. And I blame Malik Scott for that. I blame Malik Scott for that, because as a trainer, you're going, look, you're working well with that. You're working well with that shot. Stopped using it completely. So for me, I'm I'm not a big Malik Scott fan. Not for what he's done with Wilder. He came in heavier, but that just made Wilder slower. And it didn't prove his fitness. Within 2 rounds, he was blowing out his ass. And he forgot everything about what Malik had taught him, and he'd gone back to your same old Wilder. So I don't know. You know now that if you put the pressure on Wilder, you back him up, he's going to go back to same old Wilder. And he's got a lot of bad habits when you back him up. Backs up, chin in the air, like I've said, hands here. He does not counter you. The only time Wilder counters you is if, like, for the Lewis Ortiz fight, for example, is when you stand straight in front of him and you kind of walk towards him without a jab, then he'll hit you without a right hand. Because then you've got him space and time. It's like bow and arrow with Wilder. If you get bow and arrow, you know how bow and arrow works? It's like this. And then you go bang, like rubber band. That's how Wilder is. Pulls back. Look at the way he fights. Pulls back and then lets that right hand go straight. Boom, and shoots it. And that's where his power comes from. So, yeah, I'm not so keen on the Malik Scott Wilder thing. I would like to see Wilder with a more experienced trainer. And that's why I said in this fight coming up with Tyson Fury, it would be better if Deontay had worked with a more experienced, proven trainer going into the biggest fight of his career. And I think the adjustments would have made, and I don't think Wilder would have come in as heavy as he did. So those are my thoughts. So Helenius, it could be a shootout. This fight could be a shootout, particularly if Helenius can get the jab going and getting close to Wilder. I don't want to see Wilder in a shootout with Helenius. I don't, because Helenius can punch. And the difference between Tyson Fury and Helenius is that Helenius has always been known as a puncher. If you look at Tyson Fury early in his career, he wasn't noticed as a puncher. Helenius has always been a puncher in his career. The Nordic Nightmare has always been known as a puncher. And I like his style. You know. Helenius himself, I'm not saying he's the greatest boxer in the world. He himself is not defensively sound. But it's going to be an exciting fight between him and Helenius. And an ambitious Helenius is a dangerous Helenius. You heard it here. An ambitious Helenius is a dangerous Helenius. But if Wilder is knock Helenius out, it will be with bow and arrow. It will be Helenius at the end of that jab and right hand straight for the middle. That's how it will happen. Like with all Wilder fights. Left jab, right hand from him, bang, straight through. That's how it will be. And if Helenius is to win this fight, it's Helenius with Wilder his back against the ropes, using the double jab, pushing Wilder back and landing that right hand. So it's a dangerous fight. It's a big guy. He's 6'7". He's not like a 6'2" or a 6'3", where Wilder's got that reach and height. He's got a guy that's looking him straight in the eye, dead in the eye. It's a dangerous fight. You know, even if let's go back to Wilder's career when he fought that French guy, Duhaupas, right? That was a hard fight for Wilder. Yeah, you think he went 10, 11 rounds with Duhaupas. And I would say that Helenius is a better boxer than Duhaupas. Duhaupas is strong, but he can never punch as well as Helenius. He wasn't as good a boxer as Helenius. Duhaupas, remember him? So there's a guy that was big and strong and tall and durable and can box. And I would say Helenius is durable. He can punch, he can box. So it's a dangerous fight. It's a dangerous fight for Wilder. You know, he's got a guy who's just as tall as him and just as long as him. So just as Wilder can step back, Helenius can measure him with a jab. And when you've got a jab like that, that kind of interrupts your own ability to throw a right hand. So it's an exciting fight. I can't wait for it. But I will be, as a guy who loves to see Wilder fight, and I do like Robert Helenius, I will be holding on to my seat like this and watching like this, because two big dudes in there, as you know, in heavyweight boxing. And with Wilder coming back, not knowing where his head is, where his skill set is, or how his durability is now, or his mindset, what happens if he gets hit in the chin again in a big fight without gloves, with gloves on, 10-out gloves or 12-out gloves. I don't know. Is he fragile? I don't know. We'll see. But thanks for watching. This has been BWTM Sports as always. Oh, by the way, what do you think? How do you think Wilder's going to come back? You think he'll just come out and trash Helenius like he did Dominic Brazil? Or do you think we're going to have a Duhapus performance? Or do you think we'll have a Tyson Fury type Wilder back against the ropes fight? Hi, Popcorn Boxing. Good to see you again. I hope that you've hit the subscribe button, and I also hope that you've hit the notification bell, which has got the all, not personalized. Right, let me get out of here. Thank you for watching as always. Don't forget to rate, subscribe, leave your comments and share the video. I'm out of here. Take care.